Thank you. I know, last one, right? We're almost there.
Last one.
My name is Jeff Ware from Brewery Company. I'm a board member here for the association, and we made it through the gauntlet here. I got Monika and Clare behind me, thank you. And they're going to introduce themselves, and we'll talk about some social media marketing, and I'll let them take it away and just sit here and watch. So thank you very much, guys.
Can everyone hear me? Or can you...
Use mic if you records.
Okay, cool. It makes me feel too powerful. Okay, so everyone, thank you for coming. I know this is the last session, and everyone's probably had a long, full conference, definitely a long, full day, so thanks for being here. Just to introduce ourselves, I am Clare Thomas Allen. I am Long Island based, so I will be talking a lot with my hands. Apologies in advance. I am now based in Manhattan. I've been in the craft beer industry since 2020 professionally. I've been socially in the industry since 2018. Freshly after turning 21, started doing everything and creating content within the craft beer space. Since 2018, I have a master's in media management, and now I freelance within the hospitality space. So a lot of experience in the industry, and both fan and just a lover of the space. Also, go Bills.
Go Bills!
Cool, thank you guys so much for coming. I know that it's been a long couple days. My name is Monika Davis. I do marketing and social media for Strong Rope in Red Hook, Brooklyn. I started photography in high school and really fell in love with capturing events and doing portraits, senior photos for all my friends. And then I minored in photography in college, and I've been shooting events, weddings, and beer collectively for over 10 years. I've been in craft beer for 5 years this year, and this is my second year at the conference. And then, yeah, I've been at Strong Rope for almost 4 years. I went to Emerson College, majored in journalism, and I'm now working on my master's. And a fun fact is I am a avid lover of Twisted Tea. So if anyone can find me a Twisted Tea later, I will love you forever. I love craft beer, but you know, as you can see by the photo, I'm decked out in Twisted Tea gear. And I love reading, and I love my 2 cats. So we're gonna get started. I'm just gonna give a little run through of what we're gonna be going through today. We wanna have fun. We have a couple things up our sleeves, so I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, so we're gonna start with AI and marketing. There's, a little preview. We don't really like it. Platforms and their purpose. What makes a good photo? What makes good video? What makes bad photos? How to hook your audience, because that's super important in Reels, and it's a really fast-paced content on social media these days. Creating and crafting your voice as a brand, and then getting into some inspiration and credit of other creators who are awesome in the space that we are always learning from. So, this is the fun surprise. We have a cowbell. This is a game that my grandma told me about. I give it to Matt. Matt volunteered to be the first person to go. My grandma used to teach seminars, and
More cowbell!
she taught seminars that were a little lengthy and kind of boring, so she started using a cowbell, and every time you hear a secret word, you ring it, it wakes up all of you, and you get a prize. So our special prize today is a Strong Rope beer. One of our newest, freshest beers, canned last week. Field trials. Let me know if you have questions about that later. And then,
You gotta tell me what the secret word is.
yeah, so the secret word is magic. So, not yet, but the next time we say that word, you're gonna ring the bell, and then we'll switch to another person. So you want to be listening, and you want to play the game. So,
Ready?
when to use AI? I know a lot of other sessions talk about how to integrate AI into your business, into your marketing and your social media, into your brewing. I'm not getting into the technical side of it, the data, and how you can apply it that way, but when making content, I highly suggest you don't lean on AI and post photos of AI, because it doesn't look great. It's your younger users don't like it, and also it's stealing from other creators. There are options through Adobe and other platforms that aggregate content with permission, and that is a kind of safe and responsible way to use it. And I think there are ways to use it responsibly, and there are ways to integrate it into your kind of brainstorming ideas and different things like that. But try to remind yourself of like, you are a human, you have creative thoughts, you work with other people who have creative thoughts, and you also know artists, and it's really important to continue to support them. And also it's really bad for the environment. That's like the number one thing. It uses so much water to cool down these plants that are, running all this data, and we don't really know where it's going. We don't know where the future of AI is going, so tread lightly. But yeah, I'll get off my high horse, and Claire will go to platforms.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna talk today about like practices of content, how to make content, both photo and video, but obviously that content needs somewhere to live, and there's many different places where that content can go. So are most people familiar with many of the different platforms and the reasons they exist, or what people use them for now? Okay, so I just put this on here to kind of talk about like our top of funnel is kind of our trendy reels, our trendy audios, kind of wide casting content, the point of view, you have a sunset and a beer because you have a great view and you really want to show that off. Things that introduce people to your brand. So we're gonna go over some of the content practices for that. But then obviously I want to talk about going down further. Carousels are kind of where you're warming up the audience, they're swiping through, they're really reading, they're learning what your events are, where they're happening, what time they're happening, what other people are going to, visit your brewery. And then bottom of the funnel is still our Yelp, our Google, our email, and our event posts are kind of getting the people really through the door, because once again, not AI, human interaction. You want to see other people's reviews, other people's testimonials. Influencer kind of falls below all three of these, depending on what the content piece is itself. But I just wanted to put this on there and talk about the marketing funnel and how it relates to content specifically.
Cool. So I'm gonna jump into some more like nitty-gritty photo tips. Claire is more experienced with the video stuff, so she'll jump into that. It seems really simple to be like worried about photos and what you're putting on your social media. It seems like something you don't necessarily need to worry about, but it is the foundation of your brand. Compelling composition, and also incorporating the environment around you. Like, people want to see your tap rooms. They want to see what's going on behind the scenes. They want to see your brew houses. And so it's really important to have quality video, or quality photo and video. So some kind of like key foundational things: correct exposure, not things that are too bright or too dark, having good light, no distractions in the background, no weird kind of like things that are pulling your attention away from the subject. And then you want to tell a story. You want to use emotion. You want the viewer to want to know more. And also, the glass should be beer clean. So just remember that bubbles stick to dirt and not a glass. So if you're in your brewery and you're taking photos of beer in a glass that is not beer clean, what are you doing? Take a second, make sure you're really like paying attention to when you're pouring the beer, clean off the glass. You don't want things to be dripping, you want it to be neat, you want it to be organized and very like put together, because taking that extra second shows your customers and the people who are on your social media that you care about your content and you care that what they're looking at is quality. Then kind of jump into, not everyone has the DSLR, like a digital camera. So a smartphone can take a good photo. It's really important to, have certain settings on your phone that allow you to take better photos, and then some kind of like fundamental things about photography that will allow you to take photos that are really eye-catching. But if you are able to get a digital camera, I think that it is going to improve your content's quality tenfold. It's, a little bit of an investment at the front, and then it's going to pay off so much. And there are so many resources online that can help you through that process. And I'm going to get a little bit more into that later. So Yes.
What was the magic word again?
Not yet.
I think you said it.
Yeah. So, let's take a look at this photo. It's a great example. It's a magical example of taking photos.
Sounds.
Wait, the rule of thirds. Okay.
Test,
Yeah.
press across.
Oh, you want to go next?
Oh, no, here.
Beer. So when you're using your smartphone, this is actually a photo that I took on my DSLR. But when you're taking photos on your phone, you want to turn on the grid overlay to help you use the rule of thirds. So does everyone here know what the rule of thirds are?
I do not.
No. Okay. So the rule of thirds, composition is broken into 9 quadrants, and you really want to include your subject within the corners, like where the lines meet, and that's going to draw the viewer's eye to that point of the photo. So sometimes, this is not a rule, you don't always have to do this, even though it's called the rule of thirds. Sometimes I will center the beer in the photo because I think that the shadows are directing the viewer's eyes to the beer, or the subject, or whatever it may be. I like centering my things, centering the objects that I'm photographing or the people. But rule of thirds is a great way to do this, to take photos on your phone and keep that quality at a higher level. But yeah, there are no real rules. You know, find your style and stick with that. And then if you can, essentially your camera or your phone is going to shoot in JPEG, which is a more compressed file size, or you can change the setting to shoot RAW. So it's going to help, you know, retain a lot of that the data and the information on the back end, and so when you go to edit it, you have higher quality photos, and your phone can change to RAW. So the only thing is that when you're shooting with a digital camera, you have to process the photo, which means editing. So you're gonna need to like upload that photo into a photo editing app, make changes if necessary, and then export it into a JPEG, because you can't share RAW files. So if that sounds confusing, I can get more into that afterwards. If you have questions, let me know. Yeah. So, I do have a question. Who here uses an Android? Okay. iPhone? Okay. So like kind of 70-30. iPhones are great. Apple sucks. But yeah, so I'm gonna jump into some gear recommendations really quickly, and then
I just have a question.
yeah.
What do you guys recommend to shoot? Like, so they are shooting a photo. What size are you recommending for them to be posted on Instagram?
Yeah, actually, I think
Instagram, so Instagram used to shoot in, what was it, 1080 by 1350, but now it's 1080 by 1440, so it used to be 4x5, and now it's 3x4.
yeah,
That's their photo.
So Instagram has changed its photo ratio to be larger, so now because the 17 Pro Max, this thing's bigger than my face, it's gigantic. So they've now upgraded it when that Apple product came out. So now Meta's worked with them, so now you can take up more room. So if you edit your photo and crop it to 3x4, it'll take up more room on the user's screen than it did previously, and that was an update as of like 3 weeks ago.
yeah. I think I included that on the
I
slide.
also work on like carousels as well.
That'll work on carousel.
Yeah, I usually shoot portrait because I often am posting in 4x5. I think that's what works best. It changed about a year ago to the square was more the, yeah, 1x1 was what Instagram was using, and the grid was 3 by, you know, infinity, and now it's 4. So with that 4x5, it kind of changes the look of your grid. So if you're planning that ahead, something to think about. It definitely sucks going back into our grid and seeing that all of those photos that were kind of like lined up and formatted properly are different now. That's just like a changing thing with Instagram and Facebook. It's always evolving. So trying to like stay on top of that, but also knowing that it's not perfect. It's not a science. So yeah, if you want to take a picture of this, the QR code, I linked out some of my like kind of quick and dirty recommendations for where to start for a DSLR and where to start with mics. If you're filming a lot of videos, it's great to have like clip-on mics. It's gonna isolate the sound. It's gonna make it so much easier to hear people on camera, especially if you're like in the back of the brew house where it's really loud. Jason.
How much does mics sell?
The like lower quality ones are probably like $30, and the higher quality ones are around 100, like 90 to 100 bucks. So Claire actually has.
I have the mini Rhodes, so it's just these tiny little mics, kind of come in like an AirPod case. So I think these were like 170, but they're super, super high quality, and they're literally like an AirPod. You just throw in your bag, charge from the case. It's really convenient.
Yeah. The other gear that I wanted to kind of recommend that I bought recently is this iPhone gimbal, which it kind of looks funny and like very, technical, but it's really great at stabilizing your video, and you can take photos as well if that is going to help you. But so you press like the little on button, and it sets it up, and then you can kind of control with a little trigger.
AI.
It is not AI, but it is really cool, and it stabilizes your video. But it might do magic.
Ring your bell.
No.
She said that. Hold it down. There we go. There we go.
Gotta have more cowbell. I had a question.
We did not. Yeah.
So the question is, with that iPhone, where your mic integrated with your iPhone?
Yeah. So the receiver plugs into the port where you charge your phone, and then
Like this is the receiver for the mic.
so all you have to do
Very
is turn it
small,
on.
plug it in,
Yeah.
and then these little clip-ons. They're magnetic, and then also have a little clip, so they'll go on anything. But they're really great because if you are filming like on a rent floor, it's very noisy back there, even when nothing is really running. We all know that, so the mics are kind of a necessity.
Even in like a crowded tap room, you can like isolate that sound. It's gonna make your video content and your quality so much better. But yeah, this is super fun. You can see like it kind of adapts to what I'm doing. It's wild, and it's not a crazy investment if you don't want to get a digital camera. You want to do more videos. So
It also shoots photos on it.
it does. Yeah, it's great. But yeah, so some other gear stuff, and then I'm gonna go on to some more photo stuff. I hope I'm not boring you guys. Claire and I are big Canon fans. I personally will always buy Canon. Just always what I've used. A lot of people like Nikon. I watch so many tutorials and videos online about all the little details. If you have a question, you can Google it. I know it can seem a little scary at first, but I'm like, so much of what I know is self-taught. And I feel like it's a kind of wormhole. So as soon as you start, you're gonna wanna know more, you're gonna wanna buy more, in a fun way. You're gonna like upgrade your content and the quality of your gear. The other big tip with buying gear, I know it's expensive, money is tight. Used gear is great. It's often totally like it's barely been used, and they're selling it at a like half price. When I was first upgrading my equipment in the first like 3 or 4 years, I always bought used gear, used lenses. It's amazing how much cheaper it can be, and there's quality control. They make sure that things aren't broken. And then like a DSLR starter kit is great if you want to, add an upgraded lens. That can be a really good pairing. Kristen.
Is there like a place to get used gear that like is catered to this sort of thing?
Yeah. So B&H.
There's the B&H photo in New York City has a ginormous used department, and it's also updated online, typically within the hour of when equipment comes in or goes out, and they ship anywhere in New York State, I think, 66.
Yeah. B&H is great. Adorama is great. eBay is great. I bought most of my stuff on eBay.
What was that?
But also based off of Whatnot, they sell some used gear as well.
Yeah.
Was there another?
I've seen stuff on Facebook Marketplace for this that's like dirt cheap.
Yeah.
People just-
Sometimes people are just like trying to get rid of stuff. So, and it works great, and it's what you need. So once you figure out like kind of what you need, then you can search on all these sites, and there's so many resources. But yeah, so recommendations there. All right. So first, what's wrong with this photo? Yeah.
No head on the glass, like the
Yeah.
beer.
Very little head. Yeah.
Also, the bubbles are fine,
Bubbles.
the glass is dirty.
Yeah. What about the glass itself?
It's very small.
It's a weird glass, right?
Zoomed in.
Yeah. The background stuff. There's no.
comments can be say dirty glass.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, bubbles cling to dirt, not glass. Incorrect glassware. I think the most important thing is take photos of your beer in the glass that it's going to be served in. It doesn't, unless you can kind of promote glassware, like branded glassware. Sometimes I'll do that if we're trying to sell a new glass that we got in, a different pint glass. But I think that the best way to be kind of authentic and stick with what the customer is going to expect. They're going to be like, I want to see that pink beer in that tulip glass. And then if they come in and they don't get that, there's some like disappointment. So it's, it's always something to keep in mind. And then, yeah, little to no head. Has anyone here taken a photo of beer and had a really hard time keeping the foam on the beer? Has anyone tried like foam, like the fork trick, where you just
Do the straw trick.
yeah, you can use a straw. I feel like
You can
The-
season salt in your beer.
Yeah.
And
You just pour a 5 ounce of foam and then you just top it off.
okay, see, we're always learning things from other people. That's honestly a great idea. But yeah, you want to take your time. I know it can be kind of frustrating. Like if sometimes I'm going outside and trying to take a photo and it's so windy that the head blows away. You have to work with your environment and you want to maintain that quality. Yeah.
the fork trick? I don't know.
The fork trick? Oh, so you take a fork and you just spin the beer around. Yeah, it actually works really well. It shoots back up. You can only use it so many times, but work with the carb. Cool. So I'm gonna use, that was just a random photo on Google too. I'm not like roasting someone I know. So what is going right in this photo? This is my photo, it could be mean, I don't care. Yeah.
The third.
Pretty picture. It looks good.
there's
Yeah,
just more
it's
to
actually,
it.
I shot this one in the middle, and I would post it with this center,
Yeah.
because the light and the shadows are, yeah.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, you want to use like the good light, and it's not direct light necessarily. It's like shining through the beer, so I can see what the color is. We drink with our eyes. I'm sure we've all heard that so many times.
You're also getting both just the beer, but also the barrel as another secondary.
Yeah, we have a bunch of barrels. I really love shooting on them. But yeah, so we have a 12-ounce glass, utilizing the natural light. Colors are saturated, but they're not unnatural. I think that's something super important. You want it to look like it will in person. It doesn't make sense to edit your photos in a way that is unnatural. You want to keep a similar style, and I think that's important with your branding. But beer is beer. We want to see what the beer looks like, but it's still eye-catching. This one definitely helps because it's a nice color. But kind of critiquing my own photo, I don't really like how I didn't consider the background of this image. It's pretty bland. It's kind of got weird angles going on. The pebbles, the rocks behind it don't really add anything. This is a photo that I would have to crop a lot, which is fine because it's a higher quality image, so it's not going to be pixelated. But it's a waste of space, and it's kind of pulling me out of the photo. I'm like, what's going on above the beer? Like, why is that included? So that's something I kind of think about. Want to keep the depth of field. I want to have a blurry background, and make the beer the center of the stage. So, we're gonna jump into Claire, and what makes a good video.
Just before I get into this, how many people are currently doing video content? And are you doing it yourselves or are you doing it more outsourcing?
Ourselves.
Okay. I just want to know what resources we're kind of working with here. So what makes a good video? There's a lot of different things, but the typical recipe is a hook, a build to payoff, and a call to action. So our hook is going to be within our first 3 seconds. There are many different types of hooks, and we're going to get into that pretty in depth as like a focus in the video portion. But the first 3 seconds are wildly important, especially as 2 women born in 1997. So you got to capture us in the first 3 seconds, or we're kind of moving on from that video. So the hook and then the build to payoff. So we'll show this video as an example of all 3, and then the call to action would be the end of your video, kind of telling your audience exactly what you need them to do, whether that's tag a friend in the comments, share this post for a chance, to win a free latte on your story, something like that. So this is also a screenshot of just the beginning of the video. We didn't do the full thing, right? What was first? Oh, no. Let me play.
Finally giving you guys the most requested drink of all time, red velvet. Red velvet syrup.
So right in that video right away, she had a text on screen, and the text is not it's telling you what she's doing, but it's not giving away the answer. So the most requested video, or the most requested drink of all time, you don't know what it is, so you're automatically bought into finding out what it will become at the end. She tells you almost immediately, which is pretty rare. Most people make you build up for it. But this creator, this is the Nitro Bar, which is multiple locations like Connecticut, New York, and she does a lot of videos doing that format, and then shows you the process of how she created that drink. There's also in that video, she, if you notice in the beginning, is taking typing and she's moving with her hands. She has movement, she has text on screen, and then she's also speaking the same text on screen. So she has 3 different ways that she's captured your attention in that first 3 seconds immediately. So we're gonna go to another hook example. This one is a trend that's been in the past 3 days. So if anyone wants to copy this on their social media, this is building up now. So this is a trending audio, which also would be a hook because it's familiar to your audience. They know the payoff because they're familiar with the outcome, but they don't know what your specific payoff will be, which is why trends can be really powerful, especially if you're doing the top of funnel content, which should primarily be about 20% of what you're posting regularly, because you do want to prime up a new audience to be introduced to you. It can be pretty low lift if it is something as simple as this, and it can be a fun way to introduce your offerings like this. Either a new cocktail, a new drink, you could do a plate of food, using kind of trends for that is huge. Another hook, this is a visual. Oh. So this one works because the camera moves directly in the first 3 seconds. So you're bought in because you don't know where it's going and what the payoff is, which is then just someone talking. So you can either do a camera quick moving as a visual, you can do camera standing and someone comes into frame, just really anything to not just have immediate face to camera with no payoff, without you're not buying into just a person talking to a camera. You need a little bit more than that. So the visual can add to it if you're not someone who's really good at doing the audio style of it. And then some people are awesome and they can do both. So this example is from Beer Girl, the CEO Caroline. So this one is a little bit heavier lift, but it's a bunch of small clips put together in the first 3 seconds. So you're really bought into the style of her day, and then you're willing to watch the next minute and a half of what her day actually was because you saw it in the first 3 seconds. Additionally, there was a lot of text on screen, so you knew exactly what was going to happen, but you were familiar with her branding. So she had that right in front of you immediately, which is huge, especially if you want, again, only have those 3 seconds to capture someone. This next one's also from the Nitro Bar. So in this one, she asks a question, which is, we'll go into hooks and styles of them. Huge, because a question is automatically curiosity and then drives people to want to know the answer, which would be the build to then your payout.
Everybody's doing soup now.
They are.
I know, right?
Should we see if it's worth the hype?
Yeah, I guess. How the fuck are we gonna keep this up?
So she had text on screen, she was then speaking the same thing, and then she was also moving while speaking. So she had all 3 formulas going into her video, which makes these perform really well because she has over 2,000 likes on these pretty consistently. And these videos were all examples for people in the hospitality space because I didn't want to just throw up obviously random ones that don't pertain to what we're doing today. So I put up some examples of hooks that you guys could try, especially for things for an event recap, for a new beer release, announcing an event behind the scenes, different things that might work for you. And especially if you're not someone who's really comfortable in front of camera, you can have them as text overlays. So even if you take, an event recap, if you weren't here last night, this is what you missed. You're kind of driving, this is what you missed. You're driving a FOMO aspect. Content, as much as it can be fun, it's a psychological warfare and you're trying to win it in those first 3 seconds and you're trying to do it in sometimes a negative way. I personally lean into negative consistently, but that's our next slide. But these work for positive things behind the scenes. One ingredient changed everything in this batch. You're automatically thinking, what is it? How do I find out the rest of it? Can I implement that in my brewery? Or as a consumer, you're like, what did they change from last time? I loved it last time. What's new? Maybe I didn't love it last time. They changed something. Maybe I'll love it now. You're going to watch the story of how this unfolded, and that'll kind of grasp your attention. And then to end, I just put some call to actions because they're always really important. And I like that CTA is my initials as well as a girl in marketing. Does anyone try hooks or is any experience like scripting for short form content? Yes. So like I said, negativity, negativity is not always something we want to be pushing for, but it's something that works really, really great on the internet. We know rage baiting is huge and it works. So if you can do it in a proper way, which I gave some examples here, I think it can really drive conversations. So a video, I don't know who needs to hear this, but pineapple does belong on pizza. I know it's the most cliche one, but if you do a brick oven style pizza in your tap room, this is a good way to highlight it. It drives conversation in a rage baity but gentle format, which I think is really great for kind of introducing new people to your audience, or then even your regulars are gonna either defend you or they're gonna push and say, hey, I've been actually asking for you not to do that for so long. It'll drive conversation. Because as much as we don't want to really fuel the negativity, it drives a lot of engagement, and engagement brings new audiences, and new audiences to come into the tap room and become customers. So I'm sure everyone knows the Brewery godmother. She is magic, and we're gonna watch some of her videos. Oh, I think he left.
Oh, he's got another magic.
Drink half of it before you give it to him.
No.
So I'm sure everyone knows the Brewery godmother. She has perfected the hook in multiple styles. So she will watch some examples here, and then you guys can tell me kind of what you're seeing is going right in hers. Is the first one.
Today's episode almost did that.
So what went well in that video, Manny?
First of all, she's got a sweatshirt that says Hayes. It's awesome, right?
Okay, fair.
And then she's saying like what's wrong, like what went wrong. So you're hooked on like, well, I want to see what this wrong.
Yeah, this one specifically, she does a lot of them, but this one specifically I put in because today's episode almost didn't happen. You're immediately bought into, even if she's a topic that you don't really invest in, today's almost didn't happen. You're like, why? Why did it not happen? I need to know. I need the payoff. Then there's this. Oh, Monika. Mom.
Welcome to Beer Fact Fridays with the Brewery godmother. And one of the things that I've learned in my tap room education and training, and a lot of the interfacing that I've done with breweries and beer service spaces is that
What went well in that video? In the first 3 seconds.
I want to know what you're doing.
Yes, Manny, or
She had to text over.
yes, and I knew you were gonna say that.
Moving her hands too, moving.
Yeah, she had movement, and then she was speaking something different that was on screen. So she had hospitality as key question mark, but then was speaking something differently. So you're engaged twice because you're focusing on both of those things at once, which overstimulation is kind of the name of the game in some regard. But that might not work for everyone, and I want to be transparent about that. If you're a brewery who's a really calm environment and you do book clubs and sewing workshops, doing this rage bait engagement hooks might not be for you, and that's totally fine. This is just kind of the way that we've seen a lot of content headed and going, and we kind of just wanted to share that. And then here's the last example.
welcome to Beer Fact Fridays with the Brewery godmother. And I don't know if it's because it's the new year and you're just trying to kind of get your bearings. I have been going back and looking through a lot of
Oh, guys, it's repetition. So what she's repeating, but it's the same thing. So like you're watching all her videos and you're finding that she has a series. You're getting familiar. You see that she uses the same fonts, almost the same intros. You're building kind of her brand image by watching her content. So you can, try a bunch of different hooks, but if one really works for you, you can keep repurposing that. You can keep using that same question on it and repurposing different styles. Do you have a question, Manny, or was that just saying?
No, I was also saying like her composition is always the same.
Yes, she is a very strict format, and it works very, very well for her. And I know that took a little bit of experimenting, which is what you're supposed to do on social. Experiment until you find something that works, and then you just repeat it day in and day out. And that does work really well for her. And she also has great lighting, which I know that we all work in the beer space, and a lot of times it's very dark, and we have dark tap rooms, and it's really fun to be drinking in them, but not so fun for content. So just make sure you do great lighting as well, because that's something that kind of makes or breaks a video. Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about your post workflow for people, like, so say you have great photos and video, What's the workflow to get it to the channels that you want?
So you're talking about like a
Like
scheduling
what-
tool?
You know, like someone that isn't like getting to do it editing software. Do you have like tricks or how would you get your good photos, your video to the channels that you want?
Are you trying to post a video like multiple platforms, or are you just trying to, you took a video and like you need to get it on Instagram?
Yeah.
For business pages, I use Sprout or Hootsuite, depending on the client. For my personal pages, I do everything natively.
Yeah.
I would not save a lot of drafts in Instagram. If you're gonna batch content, I would batch it and keep it on your phone in a special folder. I wouldn't save them batched in Instagram itself because it glitches a lot, and I don't want you to put a lot of time into a caption and a video, and then that glitches out on you. But I do a lot of things natively. I don't know what you're.
Yeah, I also using CapCut to edit is great. And then like I use Lightroom for photos, but I've definitely been burned many times by trying to edit natively in Instagram. It's horrible. So
You don't use Instagram edits?
No.
no.
I use
You do,
Yeah, I use CapCut. CapCut is a phone app and then also has a desktop app, and I think it's like $118 for the year, and they speak to each other like Adobe would, so you can have it on multiple devices at a time. But yeah, I'll edit CapCut, save my phone, upload, and then write all the caption out. If you have a budget, Sprout, that was great. Does anyone have any questions on videos? Oh, I must have done such a good job. No questions. I'm feeling magic.
Thank you.
Well,
There's a
Well, it's sort of like, the structure of the week, like,
I want to hear what you're saying. So I hear what that is.
what works well, like real carousel post, real carousel post, or post carousel.
Okay.
I don't think there's a specific formula. I think it's really what works best for you, and it's just easiest to live for you that you can do consistently. I don't want to give you an answer and say, let's do the 3 reels a week, if that is breaking your back and it's so much easier for you to do carousels. And the first side of your carousel changes, but the second 2 stay the same, events, and your third one is something different. Like, it should be an easy lift for you as long as you can stay consistent with it. I personally would recommend carousels right now over reels if you're going to put in the time and effort for it, because they perform better currently. But once again, the algorithm could decide tomorrow that that's different. I think having a good mix of both, but I specifically would just kind of do carousels, even if it's 2 pictures back and forth. And then reels. I wouldn't even put time into just a static image.
You put like call to action.
I would put a call to action almost every time, because you can annoy them with a call to action.
Okay.
Yeah, and then call to actions don't always have to be in the videos. Like, you can put them in the captions instead to keep it not as like aggressive or heavy. I know. I think that you like to put them in the video, like the end of the videos.
Yeah.
Like, I'll see you guys there. Hit me for tickets. Yeah. No. Thanks, Dave.
The other thing too is that reels are often gonna draw in people who don't follow you. So it's more of like an exploring thing. Like, people are gonna find you by scrolling versus like your followers are looking at the carousels. They're looking at the posts and the photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now obviously we have our great. Oh yes.
But reels go away though, right?
Reels stories go away.
Stories go.
Stories go away.
It doesn't ever go.
Nothing ever goes away. It's the internet. But yes.
It's not true that Instagram pushes ads more though, because they made that. They'll push ads more because it's there. It's not.
Instagram will push anything that they've recently released for the first like 2 weeks, because they want to beta test a bunch of people using it, and they want to reward people that have adapted to it. But then after that drop off point, they're like, okay, these people, we didn't get them right away. We're really not. Like, the people have built their, like, my whole portfolio is just sitting in CapCut. I'm not going to move them over to edits. So when there's a new Instagram feature, especially when they put that little bubble right by your icon to type a message, do whatever they just pushed out for that 2 weeks, because they'll reward you for it. But then after that, don't still expect to get a cookie sort of vibe. No.
Yeah.
I had a question about like business accounts versus like regular accounts.
Yeah.
I noticed that like a lot of trending audio is not available for a business account.
Correct.
How do you suggest going about that? Because I know people post like original audio, so it'll still be the trending audio, but not from the original source.
So
Is it worth going away from a business account, or?
no, I think there's still value in having a business account. I think that What audios are you looking for specific? Just like the trendy ones?
Yeah, so I'm not a brewery, but we're a can supplier. But I'm still trying to post like trending content because we're new.
Yeah.
So, and we usually can't, but we have to find like that workaround to do the trending audio. But
There's a hack, just so you guys know.
I would say I just download the audio and do it myself. If I'm not working on a brand account that like has 150,000 followers and someone could get upset and could report it, no Disney, no Taylor Swift. Don't even try to like play in that field. Like the NFL puts out some audios, anything that you know that like they will cease and desist you and come after you, don't play for it. But if it's someone's funny audio that they did a video in their car and then that trending audio is now going viral, they're not going to come after you. And if you had a different trick or
Yeah, so I found a hack because the Guild's Instagram's business account, then I have my personal account. If you save that audio, like you go to a video that has it saved the audio, then you can use it.
oh, okay.
yeah, like I'll screen record the video, put it into CapCut, extract the audio, and then use that audio.
So
You can also put your business like rather than putting it in the actual space that it is, like rather than saying like hospitality or this and that, you can call yourself a creator and then you get access to it. So it's like the I category if you have access to the audience.
okay.
I'll also link your TikTok, personal link to TikTok to your Pat Kevin account so you can get it.
That is correct. Thank you, Minnie.
Thank you.
How do you guys feel about long form? Is there any brands you're working with or companies you're working with that are seeing traction long form YouTube over the Instagram shorter?
Yes, but not within the hospitality space. Like I don't do any long form hospitality content unless you have a team, unless you're Firestone Walker and you're doing, tours and you have David Walker walking around doing interview content side of thing. I don't think it's a huge benefit for the lift it takes. So now we have our content, great, yay. We need to write a caption because how silly would it be to post it with no caption? So the first thing is, are we, or I brand, I put this specifically because I've seen a lot of breweries, you can tell that multiple people are running the account when sometimes they'll say, we can't wait to have you for trivia. And then sometimes they'll say, I'm so excited to see you later. And they'll do different things. So just kind of building out what you're saying from whose point of view, whose voice. And then, are you funny, educational, trendy, relaxed? I know we kind of write a lot of captions as we would ourselves, but that's not always the case. We are a brand. You might have a social media manager one day, pass it on to someone the next day. They should be able to kind of pick it up from there and have the same tone. So there should be kind of overarching brand identity created so that multiple people can kind of hand that off. And the IRB thing really just grinds my gears. So
Yeah. Kind of continuing on with creating your voice. I think it's really important to have like quality captions. It's where so much of your information is stored. And you don't necessarily want to junk up all of your photos with text or just post, flyers with text. So starting, identify 3 to 5 elements for your organization's brand voice. I know for Strong Rope in particular, we're 100% New York ingredients, so that kind of drives a lot of our voice and a lot of our content is focusing on what is local and where it's coming from, kind of the backstory about the malt and hops that we're using, and that's kind of really driving that. And then let your employees' personalities shine through your socials. People love watching videos of other people doing stuff and feeling like they're there. A lot of people who are following you are gonna come back, hopefully, and they're gonna recognize the bartender. They're gonna recognize, person working in the brew house and feel, closer to your brand. And it's just more interesting, having their personalities on display. It's great. And then I'm sure a lot of you have heard this already, but making great beer isn't enough of a differentiator as a brewery. You want to highlight the most memorable things about your tap room, about your beer. For us, it's a lot of the time it's the view. We've been to the Red Hook tap room. We have the Statue of Liberty. And so highlight the things that are really popular. If you have a really cool cornhole league, or if you have different game nights, trivia, things that are really popular, highlight those. And then those people will come in and they'll find other things that they enjoy as well. Just to kind of keep that, highlighting what is super important to your brewery. So this is kind of ending on this, I don't think either of us would be here without learning from other creators in this space. I think marketing and social media is a lot of stuff is replicated, and it's really important to credit the people that you're getting this information from. And it's also a great resource to learn different things. We don't know everything. We will never learn or know everything, but there's some really cool people in both the beer space and just like hospitality in general. It was a little bit New York City focused, but for social strategy, Sheila's Craft, not New York City, but she's amazing. Incredible social content about beer. And then for just beer content, Clare used the Beer Godmother as an example. Also super friendly, super nice, and so talented and knows so much. And then some other kind of like New York City people. Tom works at Hillsborough. He creates really cool long form content. If you're kind of looking into that, really inspirational and like, provides a lot of inspiration for creating video content. Quality is incredible. And then for, beer news, kind of all over the world. Chris Brew York is always posting about new breweries. He's always visiting the breweries. And it's a great way to find out about, new places that you should be following, people who are doing things differently, and kind of keeping up with the beer world at large. So, yeah.
We just want to thank you with some of our social and anything, and then if we can take a couple last questions, and then we want to do a video with you guys. So, yes.
One thing I just want to point out as a dad, my son is Gen Alpha, and he and his friends, in terms of social media, are like vehemently rejecting AI. Like they just don't want anything to do with it. Now I don't know if that's typical, but like 4 or 5 of them just don't want to get involved with it. They don't like it. They think it looks fake and. Just saying.
They brought it up. You say don't do it.
No.
Thank you, Mandy. Yes.
I think Gen Alpha. So I'm gonna ask this as like how do you find the KPI of this? Because we all post and we're like, well, how do we know that this is even doing
Yeah, it's really hard to track.
It's very hard to track unless you're linking it to something like ticket sales. So if you did one of the, cancel your plans Friday, the hot new event just hit the town, and then that's your hook. You do a little audio thing, and then you link. Well, you call to action would be like buy tickets from our link. It would be just buying tickets from social versus year over year. So if you did an event last year and you sold 35 tickets on social, and then now you start implementing different hook strategies and different carousel posts, and then you sold 102 via social, then you know it's working. But besides that, like going viral is never going to equal sales. So.
What another thing I want to say is like have a find that like more. Is Instagram better for the brewery world? Is Facebook? Is LinkedIn? Like because we're going like there's B2B, there's B2C, like so like these.
It really comes down to what your brand strategy is to who your target customer is, and then where they live natively. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Do you think everything like brewery like you have kind of somewhat universal ideas or like some size matters for a smaller brewery versus a larger brewery or surgeons or something like you these things kind of like cross the size spectrum or it's like or which chain did you get to or take one?
I think you're doing less top of funnel content the larger you get as a brewery because there's not necessarily a need to grow your audience at that rate because the word of mouth and your events are doing it for you. So the smaller you are, the more aggressive your top of funnel will kind of be just to get the word out. And then as you get larger, the kind of like trend based content will diminish. Yes.
Are you guys editing more like web based or are you doing a lot of editing in apps and like maybe you mentioned CapCut,
Yeah.
are you doing this like on phone CapCut on the desktop? Like where are you?
I use CapCut desktop primarily, just because they both talk to each other natively. So like if I'm shooting for a client, then I'm on the bus and I shot something on my phone, then I'll edit it on the way home. But when I'm shooting more like longer form content, like if it's like 2 minutes and we need a cocktail and we filmed with my camera and it's really in depth, then that's gonna be on desktop.
Yeah, I try to use that stuff as much as I can. You can see so much more. It's like the screen's bigger. I feel like when I edit on my phone, I miss so much.
Yeah, like little sliding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your thoughts on like closed captioning? So I always do my videos because we'll watch without sound, and it's more inclusive air caption, but it's also a lot of work to go back and edit sometimes. Even like Great Godmother video didn't have captions.
Correct.
Well,
Well,
sometimes she does some color as well, but if you have any thoughts on that?
she has, I think two of the, she has them like very high up, almost where when you're scrolling, it covers, like the actual format of the app covers it. I do closed captions in probably 99% of my videos, unless it's a trending audio. I think they're really important, one, for inclusivity, two, because I am in New York City, most people watch their content on the subway and on the bus, so that just works for us. I do know it takes an aggressive amount of time, even the closed caption automatic button within CapCut, you still have to edit it from there. I think that it's kind of worth the lift. I think it's like 37% of people watch videos even in their own home without the audio on. So if you want to capture them, then yes, but I know it's annoying, so I'm sorry.
And I say the cool call out for her videos too is she works a lot of, like all of her too, a lot of plain sweatshirts, which makes it easy for closed captioning because then it's not distracting from the clothes you wear.
Yes, 100%. Great. And to always just have the simple brewery logo and not like the giant brewery logo if you're gonna do a video, 100% makes a difference. Or just wearing a hat like you are is much easier. Yes.
Thoughts on text on photos, or should the photos just be raw?
I think a mix.
Okay.
You know, I don't think if you don't use any text, then I think like information gets lost. But I think including it on some stuff is really important, especially like, you know, posts that you might tag on or pin on your page, like an FAQ. I think that's great to have it on the image. But you also want to like give your photos a chance to take up the space.
Yeah. You don't want your top 9 photos, you want them kind of being a mix of, you want some reels, you want some statics, you want some clean photos of either people at the brewery or, you know, food or just the beer. So you don't want to have every single post with text. I think a really good one is doing a picture of beer, especially with the rule of thirds or off to the side, and you say events happening this week, and then you can swipe to the carousel. I know we all love our graphics for events and they are very informative if people need them, then to know what time it's happening and what's, you know, the price and things in the offerings. But I think doing a cover photo and then swiping and having your 3 or 4 events in a weekly post rather than posting 3 events on a week and having that carousel is pretty magic.
Yeah.
We've got it now.
Who has it? Yes. Yeah.
Some people would say, you gotta have more cowbell.
Not a great walk, but
Yes.
Then you're not gonna get appreciation. They're like, we're in this corner, we're like,
I'm curious that we'll talk on what reels you're doing specifically to kind of more come up with a strategy for that. I think if you're going to pin a post or have the cover, it should have a person in it if possible. Or if you do, it depends on the video, I guess. If there's someone in it, I would have like their face smiling, obviously not awkward looking. But if you're doing something with a sunset with the beer in it, like that makes sense. I think I'd want to see the videos more specifically and just see if it would be on a main grid or not.
awesome. That's
That was not a lot of answer, but yeah.
so. Love your beer.
Yeah. I think the only other caveat I wanted to mention I just thought about was some breweries have a very unique following and they might post really horrible photos of their beer and it gets a ton of likes and that's just how it is sometimes. It depends on don't get discouraged. You know, I think sticking with the quality is so important.
No,
But yeah, it's a game, and we don't always have all the answers. We often don't have the answers, so don't let that influence you. The bad photos suck. So.
We have like one last question, and we're gonna do a video. Yes.
I have a question about key performance metrics. You can track those, but someone who's telling you direct ROI from social media, the only way to do that is through something like a ticket sales website. You can track people. You can track reach, you can track engagement. You just have to pick the right metric for whatever your niche is. So that is possible. Direct ROI from social media is difficult, but key performance metrics, you should at the start of every campaign have a goal. But
Lake Tree also.
Yeah.
Just seeing we can on there if they don't buy, just the traffic.
Track some.
Okay, so if you're willing to participate, Me and Monika are just gonna send her here, and I'm just gonna say into our camera, I'm gonna be like, "Are you ready for the seminar?" She's gonna say, "Yeah, are you ready for the seminar?" I'm gonna say, "Do you think they're ready for the seminar?" And then move my phone up, and you guys are all like, "Yay!"
You gotta do that.
This time, bring the cowbell.
I thought
It's not a great walk, but you know it's walking. See, nothing else but I'm going.
Alabama Shakes is a band, and Harlem Shakes. You ever got old?
I love all those people.
This, I think, was the most impactful thing.
1 million.
For
the last time.
Are they? Perfect!